Sprinting is running over a short distance at the topmost speed of the body in a limited period of time. It is used in many sports that incorporate running, typically as a way of quickly reaching a target or goal, or avoiding or catching an opponent. Human physiology dictates that a runner's near top speed cannot be maintained for more than 30 to 35 seconds due to the depletion of phosphocreatine stores in muscles, and perhaps secondarily to excessive metabolic acidosis as a result of anaerobic glycolysis. In athletics and track and field, sprints are races over short distances. They are among the oldest running competitions, being recorded at the ancient Olympic Games. 3 sprints are currently held at the modern Summer Olympics and Outdoor World Championships: the 100 meters, 200 meters, and 400 meters. At the professional level, sprinters begin the race by assuming a crouching position in the starting blocks before driving forward and gradually moving into an upright position as the race progresses and momentum is gained. The set position differs depending on the start. The use of starting blocks allows the sprinter to perform an enhanced isometric preload. This generates muscular pretension which is channeled into the subsequent forward drive, making it more powerful. Body alignment is of key importance in producing the optimal amount of force. Ideally, the athlete should begin in a 4-point stance and drive forwards, pushing off using both legs for maximum force production. Athletes remain in the same lane on the running track throughout all sprinting events, with the sole exception of the 400 meters indoors. Races up to 100 meters are largely focused upon acceleration to an athlete's maximum speed. All sprints beyond this distance increasingly incorporate an element of endurance. The first 13 editions of the ancient Olympic Games featured only one event: the Stadion Race, which was a sprinting race from one end of the stadium to the other. The Diolos sprint races were part of the original Olympic Games in the 7th century BC as well as the first modern Olympic Games, which started in the late 19th century, featured the 100-meter and 400-meter. Athletes started both races from a crouched start. In both the original Olympics and the modern Olympics, only men were allowed to participate in track and field until the 1928 Games in Amsterdam, Netherlands. The 1928 Games were also the first games to use a 400-meter track, which became the standard for track and field. The modern sprinting events have their roots in races of imperial measurements which were later altered to metric. The 100 meters evolved from the 100-yard dash. The 200 meters distance came from the furlong, and the 400 meters was the successor to the 440-yard dash or quarter-mile race. Technological advances have always improved sprint performances. In 1924, athletes used a small shovel to dig holes to start the race from. The world record in the 100-meter dash in 1924 was 11 seconds, while in 1948 was 10.2 seconds, and was 10.1 seconds in 1956 with the first widespread use of synthetic track materials. The constant drive for faster athletes with better technology has brought man from 11 seconds to 9.58 seconds in less than 100 years. Track events were measured with the metric system except for the United Kingdom and the United States until 1965 and 1974 respectively. The Amateur Athletic Association decided to switch track and field in the US to the metric system, to finally make track and field internationally equivalent. Before this, American athletes could only qualify for world records at international events and Olympic Games. Biological factors that determine a sprinter's potential include: note, indoor distances are less standardized as many facilities run shorter or occasionally longer distances depending on available space. 60 meters is the championship distance. The 50 meters is an uncommon event and alternative to the 60 meters. Donovan Bailey holds the men's world record with a time of 5.56 seconds and Irina Privalova holds the women's world record with a time of 5.96 seconds. The 55 meters is an uncommon event that resulted from the metrication of the 60 yards and is an alternative to the 60 meters. The Stadion, also known as the Stad, was the standard short-distance sprint in ancient Greece and ran the length of a stadium. However, stadiums could vary in size and there was apparently no definite standard length for them, e.g. the stadium at Delphi measures 177 meters and the one at Pergamon 210 meters. The Diolos was an event contested in the ancient Greek Olympia that was double the length of a stadion. Typically, a sprinter would only need two types of shoes: training shoes and sprinting spikes. Sprinting spikes are typically designed to be lightweight with minimal cushion on the heels and a plate on the forefoot to keep the runner on the toes of each foot. The spike plate will typically have the maximum number of holes for metal spikes be inserted, i.